Hi everyone, Sketchcard Hive here. Today we're going to be doing a review of the 2021 X-Men Metal Universe trading card set. So let's go ahead and jump in. So in the original set we have 138, I believe 138 base set, and they have similar things where each base card comes with a variant. It's called a silver flasher, and on the camera here you can see this is what a base set card looks like. No surprise, it's Surfer. And you can see Surfer there, you see the metal base, and there you go. All the art in this set is original. It was original pencils, and then it was colored digitally, and what they marketed as CGI. So if you look at the back of the card, you can see the penciler, and you can see the CGI artist on there. Now the CGI effect, of course, is the 90s. They wanted to give it the cool metal effect, and well, here you go. So this is the base Surfer, and then each base would have a parallel, and it was called a silver flasher. As you can see there, it says flasher underneath on the bottom, right? Pretty fantastic kind of like labeling in terms of the parallel, so you knew you got something special. This relates as we get back into the 2021 X-Men metal. Here they also had two inserts, which were the gold and metal blaster, which you denotes back here, metal, gold blaster. So you can see the difference there. And these cards, if you notice, are similar to the 2021 X-Men Metal release, where this border here kind of correlates back to the high series, and this base here denotes a base set. So in a nutshell, you have those inserts. You have 38 cards for the base for the 1995 metal, plus a silver flasher, plus a metal and gold blaster, and then you had some insert sets as well, and some other variations to the set. But that is the set in a nutshell. So does 2021 X-Men Metal have that kind of feel to it? Absolutely. Now the 2021 set does not have original art. It actually uses comic book art from the Marvel library that Upper Deck has access to. And I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about that, but in my opinion, I love original art always. But there is something to be said about having a card that features comic book art, a particular panel, a cover from a particular artist you're in love with. That would probably never work on Marvel cards due to time restraints and scheduling conflicts. But here you get to have that image that you love from comic books so much encapsulated in a card. I think that's kind of cool. So I like both. I like both. There, I said it. Do what you will. But I think it's pretty cool. Now for the 2021 set, let's go ahead and take a look at the base and high series cards. Now this set particularly is a 200 card set. There's 100 base cards and 100 high series. So for the base, you have this, which is really beautiful card, right? Kind of like the modern day of Polaris. And for the high series, you have the more classic rendition of the character. Now the way you can tell the high series from the base is from the border. So that's a high series border there. This is a base border here. And you can see how thematically this set is approaching using the comic art. One of the big cons of the set is that it's not always so well done or so well executed, as in the images they're using for the first appearance or classics are not quite the classic first appearance type of thing. I say if you're going to start a trend, make it a theme all the way throughout. Don't do half in, half out. So it's a little problematic, but here it works extremely well, and this is one of the nicer cards in the set. Not the nicest, but one of the nicest. You have Polaris here in her modern day costume, and you have the classic Polaris there. Beautiful backs denoting the difference as well. So here you do notice one of the bigger flaws of the set, which is the foiling and printing. One of the big cons for the set for me is the foiling. There are mishaps in the foiling. You can see how there's a clear division there. And that is an error in the printing, not purposely done for the card. And you could also see how jagged my edges are, and that's from the cutting. This was chopped pretty rough, and this is definitely not going to get an 8 or a 7 by any grading card standard. So this is a pretty rough cut of the cards. This is normal, not so normal that every card has it, but I've seen a lot of other box breaks and a lot of other collectors, and they're having the same complaints too. This will be something Upper Deck will have to address in the future, as in nobody wants their cards to be in this condition. So the fixing of the foiling and the fixing of the jagged edges, which are pretty rough. But art-wise, I do think the cards really work, and when you do see the cards in person, every card is foiled in some way and actually feels really good in hand. So when you open up packs, the cards feel cool, and you kind of want to collect the base, which is what the original metal series intended to do. So that's the high series and base, and it works for some cards, it doesn't work for others in terms of using that classic image because they don't necessarily use the classic image of the character. So for instance, this Colossus. Here's Colossus here, more of the modern day kind of Colossus. I'm not the most up to date with my comic book knowledge, but I have somewhat comic book knowledge. I think there are more up to date modern versions of Colossus, but this is the one they chose to go with. And then you have this Colossus, which is amazing, and Jim Lee, and don't get me wrong, I love seeing this on a card, but doesn't really follow the kind of like pattern that the set is making, right? This Colossus should not be the Colossus they use. They should use more of a classic rendition of Colossus if this is what they're doing with the characters and cards, just to keep it consistent. So there are 4 variants to the base and high series, and they are gold, which is 1 out of 4 packs. We also have the Grandiose, which is 1 out of 9 packs for the base, 1 out of 18 packs for the high series cards. We have a pink, which is numbered out of 75, and we have a purple FX 1 of 1. So for the pinks, some of the cards come with an already pink background. As you could tell, you'd probably be like, well, is that a pink variant? It's actually just a pink sky, as you can denote from the picture on the back, and no hard number. I think this is terrible for the collector in any experience of box breaking, thinking they got a rare, but in fact didn't. In my opinion, I think the image should have been, some other image should have been picked, or some other kind of color, or some special foiling like you did with the Grandiose, just to show us the significant difference between them. There's no reason for us to get an insert in a pack and not think it's an insert right away and be skeptical of a base being an insert. It's just a horrible experience for the consumer. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. If we look at the Grandiose inserts, we can see probably one of the best uses of foiling in the set, other than some of the inserts. This Grandiose kind of pattern waviness, this is gorgeous in person, and I think it's just one of the nicest examples of foiling in the set. It's a shame because there's actually a purple 1 of 1 and it doesn't have this effect. The purple 1 of 1 is simply just purple, which is shown here. Someone pulled this in group, I don't have one. But as you can see, this purple on screen compared to the purple that is now showing you from Thunderbird is just lacking. Again, a lowered tier insert should not outdo the highest tier insert. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. With gold, same thing happens, is that some characters have a gold background, and then when you see the gold version, you're not sure if there's a gold version, gold background. Most of the golds that have already a yellowish tinted background are more orange. Just be aware. The pink also has this kind of error. This is a pink out of 75, but you wouldn't know it unless you looked at the number. The pink here is just way too subtle of a pink, and I think it's a little problematic. So I would definitely watch out for that. Make sure you check the back of all your cards so you're not missing anything. Okay, let's move on to precious metal gems. So for the precious metal gems, we have a similar problem with the foiling in the back. So this is a precious metal gem, and you notice that because of the lettering, the writing precious metal gem. Now the issue here is that as you can see, most precious metal gems, when you look at the background, have the background still there, at least the graphics that come with the original card as shown here with blindfold. And they are just shown underneath interesting different type of foiling effect and just bathed in the color of the PMG, which is for this set red out of 100 and green out of 10. But here, as you can note with this example of the PMG, you just don't see that background on there at all. Even at the top, it's just barely there, if there at all. And that's not usually indicative of a PMG, which is a real shame because I'm sure a lot of people who are going to this set are looking for a relatively cheap PMG so they can have it for their collection and not compete with the crazy prices that are currently at the PMG level. It's a shame. The number again is underneath the profile, at least for the high series ones, and there is an example of both. Sorry, I almost forgot something. I want to show you what the actual original high series card looked like compared to the pink, and show you how faint the difference is and how difficult it is to see. Some are worse, some are better. Some cards already have pink in them, like blindfold. You would think that's a pink, but it's not. It's actually just the base. So again, pretty problematic. So let's go ahead and look at the green PMG as well. Again, these cards, some of these cards are not mine. They're actually a friend of mine, so thank you, friend. Good friend of mine. But here's a green PMG of Scarlet Witch. And there's the foiling, as you can see my phone and my mug. You can see that text bubble right there. Do you see that? That right there should be way more pronounced. It's what the original PMG has. Here's the original card, and here's the PMG. I think the foiling could have been done better. Are the PMGs and the red PMGs not nice cards? They're gorgeous cards. They're beautiful cards. Of course they are. But I do think there were some mistakes here. Precious Metal Gem there looks really good because it's on the foiling, but what happens when the text is not on the foiling? You get issues like this with the Scarlet Witch, where you see that kind of text difference, where the text that's on the character, not on the foiling, has the white shadow beneath, and the text that's on the foiling has no shadow at all. Again, this is a problem with the printing, this is a problem with the design. This is stuff that should have been fixed before printing. But there's a subtle difference, and I just wanted to point those out to you so you understand kind of what these PMGs were doing in this set and how they differ from 2013 and 2015. Even Fleer Ultra, X-Men, and Spider-Man, which had great PMGs, thicker cards. By the way, all these cards are 35 point, some are 55 point. The Geos are maybe 75, maybe around there. We'll talk about that insert as we get there. But I just wanted to show you the difference between the PMGs that were in previous sets and the one that's in this one now. There are 200 cards in the set, so there are 200 red PMGs, which are numbered out of 100, and that means there are 200 green PMGs that are numbered out of 10. So let's move on to the next insert. The next insert is Arc Weld. Now the Arc Weld insert looks really great. It's 28 cards, including 6 short prints, not numbered cards. They're just rare to get. These particular short prints are 1 out of 576 packs. I wish all cards are hard numbered, but that's not always the case, and these short prints is an example of that. So an Arc Weld are these 2 cards here, and they are quite lovely. I think the foiling in all of them is just really stupendous. It's very beautiful, interesting color, great scratchy effect. Falls in line with the theme of the set, which I really like. It's a horizontal card as well. The background looks great. You get a little bit of a bio there. Cards numbered. It looks clean. Great foiling. And these cards seem to be cut well. I haven't seen a lot of issues on these, but some boxes might differ. But that is the Arc Weld. I think that's a win. 28 card base set with a short print card. And the short print cards are Cyclops, Gambit, Jean Grey, Rogue, Storm, and Wolverine, of course. So let's move on to Blast Furnace. Now Blast Furnace is very similar to Arc Weld. Blast Furnace is actually 28 cards and includes 6 short prints. The short prints there are Deadpool, Magneto, Mystique, Old Man Logan, which is pretty cool, Professor X, and Sabretooth. Now these cards here, this is Scarlet Witch and Avalanche. As you can see, the Blast Furnace Hollow has the same effect as the Arc Weld, and the Blast Furnace has this kind of graphics on it. I do think they look great. I think they look nice. I think these 2 inserts could benefit from some depth. I think the Arc Weld and the Blast Furnace could have been thicker cards, and this could have been a drop-in some way. So, you know, just like 1/15 of an inch or whatever it's called, drop-in, where you can see some definition. I mean, it's a furnace and Arc Weld, should have some texture on it. So I think that would have been more interesting than them being totally flat cards at 35 point. But again, the foiling works really well. They're nice cards to look at. I'm not disappointed by them. Now let's move to one more of the interesting cards, the Geos. Now the Geos are pretty cool. This is Emma Frost. And as you can see, there's a really nice depth there. And Geos are basically cards that are mocked after shadow box cards that we're used to in Marvel Premier line. Now the Geode set has 24 cards, including 6 short prints, and here's the twist, people, 3 short prints, which are 1 out of 1,440 packs. Rare, not crazy, but still rare. And those are Magneto, Storm, and Wolverine, the short prints, the SSPs, as they call them. But as you can see, this is Emma Frost. It's a shadow box, so there's multiple layers printed in the card that you can see there. I do like that it's black on the edges, and I do like the card in general. I think it's a really pretty insert. I don't think it's a bad insert at all. I think most shadow boxes always look good. I think if I had to complain a little bit about this, the big thing I would want here is that the very back of the card on the inside should have some foiling effect to give some distance to Emma Frost, you know, giving some separation between foreground, middle ground, background. I think that would have been really cool to see that shine behind her, and maybe even cut the edges, keep it a rock-shaped circle type of thing, like a jambalaya. I think that would have been really interesting. Obviously, companies like Upper Deck Tops and all these companies would do all these things if they had infinite money and so forth, but cuts are made, things are changed. I'm not being sympathetic to the company, but I am being realistic with my needs as a collector and the wants of a company. But again, I like these. I think these are a winner. The art they use is wonderful, and I think what's really cool, at least you can't tell this with Emma Frost, but in some other ones, the characters are actually behind the first layer, so it looks like they're inside the rock, which I appreciate because that's just a little fine touch, and I dig it. I dig it. Good job. Next. Now, Palladium is one of my favorite inserts, not because I like holograms, which I do, but also because I think it has some of the best art as well. I mean, they're just fascinating pieces. I think they're great. I have two others here, Colossus and Polaris. I honestly think they picked some of the best images in the set for the Palladium set. It is 50 cards deep. There's no short prints. Don't let eBay sales confuse you. They're idiots. There are no short prints. There are one out of every box. So 50 in the set, one out of every box. Easy to put together. Do not pay crazy prices for the Wolverine that you see here. That is just crazy town. But again, I think this set has some of the nicest art on it. It's one of my favorite insert sets from here. I just think it's really pretty. And the back is really cool. You know, I think it looks good. I think it just looks really good. So the Palladiums are actually echoing the 2013 Fleer Retro set. However, these are not cut into a particular shape. They're actually full card size. You know, I kind of like that. I like that. I think it's nice. I think it looks really crisp. I think it looked good graded, good in a one touch. I think it's just a beautiful card. I think when it gets cheap, I'll collect the full set and have the 50 card set. I think it's nice enough to have. I really do dig it. It's nice. Next, we have Planet Metal. Now, Planet Metal is really beautiful. There are 20 cards in this set. It's 1 out of 72 packs, and there are variants. So there's Copper, which is out of 85, which is numbered out of 85, a Platinum, which is numbered out of 49, and a Gold numbered out of 15. Now, some of the big critiques about this is that, well, MM20 Marvel Masterpieces 2020 had Metallurgy, which were hand numbered to 25, and everyone felt like that was a really good addition to Marvel Masterpieces. And now seeing metal cards in metal, it's confusing people. Personally, I think they should be in metal and not MM 2020 because, well, metal. But the confusion is there, and it is a little upsetting. And I think Upper Deck is, in fact, making a conscious effort to keep certain inserts in certain series of sets, which I think is the way to go. So regardless of any of that, this is aluminum, and these are 1 out of 72 packs, and you have 20 cards in the set, and again with the variations that I've shown you. The hard number usually shows up here, and the change in name is down here. I think they're really nice. They're a metal card. They look great. They're a good thickness. I think they're solid. I think they're pretty. I'm really into them. I don't think they're bad at all. You know, I think the art they use for them is really great too. I think they're a find. Pretty fun insert. I always like inserts that have a texture and a weight to them because the value feels like it's there when you open up a box. We have Platinum Portraits. Now, Platinum Portraits, I'm going to show you one here that was on eBay that was sold. I don't have one in hand, so I can't show you the effect, unfortunately, but I can explain to you. So for this card here, you have that chrome kind of background, that nice holographic text, and you also have the image. Now that image is made up of a bunch of cut out squares that are making that portrait. So the card is actually see-through. It's very interesting. It's actually indicative of a particular set from sports. I don't know the set because I'm not a sports guy. That's why I'm here with you on a non-sport channel. But they are an echo of a sports insert, similar to PMGs. So people are speculating and so forth, but I just think it's a really nice card. They're 25 cards, 1 out of 600 hobby/e-packs. These will come down in price. Don't go too crazy on these just yet. Wait for a bunch to hit market, and you'll see how many are in existence or around or able to be had. But they're nice pieces. I think they're really great. Next are purely periodics. Now this is a really interesting insert. I think probably one of the nicest design cards I've seen in a while. I love the purity in color. It changes. These are 85 in the set, and they match up with metals on the periodic table. You can see the atomic number here, and the atomic number is the addition size of every card. So this is 1 out of 37, this is 1 out of 56. I just think they're nice cards. I don't know what happened to me, but I am just all over this for some reason. I think they're pretty. I like the color. I like this hollow foil. A lot of people are not like me on this. They think it's weird, but I like that the periodic table showed up here in a weird way and under metal elements. I think it's just great, and I like the art they used on all of them. These little half portraits, the cards are just super clean, and I like the color appeal. Like, I remember opening up the Cyclops and the Gambit, and I was just like, these look so good. Like, when they pop out of the pack, they feel special. And I think that's what you want out of a set, right? You want each card to feel like an experience. And I think purely periodics do that. So it's a really cool, really interesting kind of set here. I like it. I like it. I'll put the Cyclops on top for I don't know why, but there it is. Also, I almost forgot, purely periodic. So it's a numbered, so they're numbered from the element, like I told you. So there's 85 cards, but each one has a different number on it that corresponds to the element on the periodic table. The lowest number one is Angel, which is 3 out of 3, which you can see on here, and is currently on eBay and going for a lot of money. It's not worth that, but it is worth something, and I've heard of the offers people are giving on it, and it's much lower than that. But again, it is a rare card. So next are buybacks. Now the buybacks are out of 10. There are 118 of them. Some cards were not put in the set in the buybacks because they're still not released from being banned characters, like yours truly, the Surfer, Nightcrawler, cards like that from the original base. So there's only 118, but only 10 of each. So they're pretty rare. Again, let prices down. People are just going crazy right now. But they're pretty rare and something to keep an eye on. If you are a character collector or a set collector, you won't have the full buyback set because they didn't make it, but still worth the hunt and still very rare at 10 cards each. Comic clippings. So comic clippings are pretty great and they're back. This one's phenomenal because there are 82 cards. Each comic book has out of 50, so there's 50 different panels, and they go all the way back to X-Men 2. Something to keep in mind, as more cards get CGC graded or whatever, slabbed, they are sealed forever. Most books that will be out there are going to be harder and harder to have physically in hand. And most of the books, if not all the books Upper Deck uses for this, are like 0.5s, really in disrepair, things people are just giving away. Maybe not giving away, but extremely out of good condition. And being able to encapsulate them in a card forever and give rarity to them and be able to cherish a panel that you're not normally going to be able to do, especially with the way grading is going, I'm all about it. I think it's really cool and I love them. So here's the one I have that I pulled. This one's great. The comic book's on the screen now. This is from this particular issue. Those are the pages. This is a gruesome actual. It's just a ghost. I don't know if it's a ghost of Longshot or not. I haven't researched it that well. But he's basically trying to put his pieces back together and tell Storm, hey, you know, will this make me more real for you? And it's just really spooky and scary, and I love all that stuff. So I'm a huge fan that I got it. I'll probably keep it. I had it up for trade, but now that I know a little more of it, I think it'll just stay here for a bit and I can just enjoy it. It tells you what issue it's from. It's also a numbered card. It's always good to have a hard numbered card because it does increase the rarity. It does let you know that there's a finite amount of cards out there that are from this issue, from this paneling. So just really great. Really just a beautiful card. There are even more rare comic cuts called Comic Cut Masterworks, and there are 18 of those, and I think about more than half of them are signed by Chris Claremont. Different X-Men issues are appearing there. They're all out of 10, and Jim Steranko with the penciler for X-Men 50 and X-Men 51 did 2 sets of those, so 20 of those. And then of course you have your sketch cards. Now looking at the one on the screen, I wasn't a fan of the sketch card stock originally, but now I am seeing one in person. They're very pretty. I love the back, I love the forward. I think they did a great job. There's 120 artists, and I think they really outdid themselves. I think it falls 1 or 2 per case, I'm not entirely sure. but they're coming out more. Check them out. Those have been really fun and a great selection of artists too. And that's it. That's my X-Men review. Overall, I've enjoyed the set. I've had a great time opening boxes with friends that you've seen on my channel and other people's channel, like Spidey Geode 9, Marvelous Packs, Madness Marvel. Just phenomenal. Marvel Madness, I think it is. Just really great people. Had a blast opening boxes. We're having a great time in the group in MCCW on Facebook. We're having a blast opening packs and boxes and looking at cards. And after a set releases, it's always a bloodbath on eBay, and cards go really high very quickly. So just be wary of that. Use your best judgment to pick out these cards. Remember, the card you want will eventually come around again. You just have to have patience. But again, I've enjoyed this set. I think it's great. There's nothing I'm particularly hunting yet. I've been looking at Gambit, periodics, some other characters as well that I'm interested in. But for right now, I'm still perusing, still having a good time and checking it out, as you should too. So if you have any questions for me, comment down below. Like, subscribe if you can. I would appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the content. More things are to come. So be ready for it. All right. Bye, everybody.